I don't have a lot of recollection from that time. Like, I mean, I have some, but they're wrapped up in a lot of like problems and a lot of like stuff that I shouldn't have been doing, like cutting out gym class and going to a liquor store and buying booze and coming back, sneaking back into the school, and like drinking with friends and stuff like that, like stuff I just shouldn't have been doing. But
Mhm.
in retrospect, that was kind of the life that I came from, growing up on the streets with I had zero boundaries, no
Mhm.
bumpers. And so
Mhm.
it, 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 it just kind of kept going that way, you know? You look
Yeah.
troubled.
The trouble?
Yeah, you look troubled by that thought.
No, 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 but I don't, I no, I didn't see that,
Oh,
like I didn't see that with you. I mean, like, because I think like I remember going back to your apartment and listening to Lou Reed
yeah,
and fooling around. That I remember,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and then I don't remember much else,
yeah. I mean,
because I don't know. I think maybe you were dating somebody else, and so I didn't know a lot, of. And I ended up. I felt like I was always rushing back to Staten Island, to go catch the boat.
now that you say that, I remember that too.
Hmm.
Um, by the way, thanks for stepping into the door. I was like, oh, how do I do this? How do I, it's so interesting to me to kind of, because a lot of it is kind of, it's not blank, but I have my own perception of it, to see what another person that I was actually very close to for a time, kind of their perception of it, or their recollection of it. Um, what I want to kind of move into another direction, if you don't mind, but like, I think, like, I have this campaign on social media. It's very small, but it's a do art every day thing. Like, I post, uh, an image. There are some people from art and design that draw with me, and we draw every single day. And I'll try to paint every single day. And I think that that practice of having a little bit of art in your life every day is critical for not only a healthy human experience, but a valuable human experience. And I I was interested to know, like, what are your thoughts about having, like, for your students or for the people that you paint with, or like, what's your thought about having art in an art practice in your everyday life?
Mm. Well, there's been. I mean, normally I have a certain amount of work to do that I do keep the paintbrush moving every day at some
Do you
point.
paint every day?
Hmm. Yeah. But there have been times of my life where I have done a deep practice, where I've said, all right, I'm going to do, 100 of these paintings, or I'm going to do this every day. I'm going to spend 3 hours on this every day. Or like 1 hour, and then I end up set up and clean up on each side. It becomes 3 hours. Or that I'm taking once a week and donating, don't I call it like donating it to whatever I whatever that practice is, whether it be like a full day of still life or a full day of working on a portrait. But the times in my life where I've committed to those practices have been growth experiences for me, as well as times where I've done crit groups. I just switched the subject to growth because I find crit groups is growth, and then taking a focus
I'm
on
sorry,
certain
Janet.
areas.
A what group?
A crit,
Like a
like a criticism.
critique group?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, I don't.
Well, like I've done that, let's say with the artist community here as well, like having like 5 people, 5 to 10 people who you feel like you would value what they say about your work, and every how often, every 6 weeks, every 8 weeks, bring something that you're working on and talk about it,
Wow.
that kind of, or a group of things.
Uh-huh.
Um, but as well, I just want to say that it's just as important as doing something every day. I think it's the mindset behind it that is just as important. Is that the self talk while you're doing it is that of, you know, moving forward or growth or, or having, a starting point that's and it having a good intention of what your focus is.
You know, I think I just want to touch on that because I think that that's a really brilliant point, and I'd like to hear more about it. Um, so I started this Do Art Every Day group uh, during COVID, or maybe just pre-COVID, and I wasn't like I would draw and paint a little bit here and there, but like I was really not very good. Not that I'm good now, but I have made some progress. But what I really was after was letting people see the process. Like, and
Mm,
it didn't matter in my mind, and this to echo your point, like it didn't matter whether it was good or not. What mattered was that I was in the act of doing. And I think a lot of people, their self talk, like if it's not perfect or it doesn't look like the image or this, that, and the other, they talk themselves out of this beautiful, rewarding, amazing practice and experience. And so, what's like an intention for you? Like, what's some of the Janet Howard self talk when you're
mm,
painting that you like you know that someone can like use?
mm. Um,
I ask the tough questions, don't I?
well, yes. Well, but I feel like I guess because I'm thinking back to like I was doing a still life project, and sometime like when I was doing those, I was like, I guess my goal was, I guess I wanted like more luscious painting. I wanted painterly paintings. Like that's what I was after. So, and to do that, I just kept doing them. And I didn't judge what I did. I told myself, I'm going to do this and I'm going to just do it and put it aside and not say if it's good or bad or anything. And then in the end, after all of them, then like look back at them and think, and like, what are the areas of growth and like, what's more like, I think it's like becoming more you, like by just doing something from observation, it's like, it was like becoming more me, like what's my mark, because like,
You mean
I
your
mean, we have
mark making, right?
yeah, like
Or your mark in the world.
my mark, no mark
Uh-huh.
making
Uh-huh.
on the pieces. I mean, and then I guess in the same side, but you become more you, then then you might make a mark,
Yeah.
But I mean, but I'm always looking at the masters and paintings, and like looking at what I love and like what do I love about that, and how could I use that in my work,
Uh-huh. So what I heard is just do the work and be a little less judgmental at the beginning on the onset, right?
Mhm.
You can come back and have, some critique.
Yeah. Yeah, like when I'm like doing those periods, yes, I think that's. I mean, the same time, I feel like, um, because right now, like I've started doing portraits, and yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how I'm. Yeah, it's interesting because I've never really done like portrait, but
Uh-huh.
I'm trying, playing with it, and trying to think about the best way to do it,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So I'm tinkering with that.
Oftentimes, so one of my other teachers, a gentleman named Casey Inch, he is a Pratt graduate as well and worked on faculty for a long time. And he just, not just, but a couple of years back, he decided that he was going to leave his career at Pratt and go be a full time painter. And him and I'm actually seeing him right after we finish our podcast on painting. Um, I'm working on uh, a Peter Paul Rubens study with my own twist. With this like centerpiece infant that's radiating flames
Mm,
as a as a kind of uh, a statement towards defiance and a statement towards freedom.
Mm,
And, him and I will talk a lot about what is what is my contribution to the historical lineage of painting. And it's
mm,
why I like including these kind of master studies as part of, at least in this period of my practice, as a direct kind of like, no, I am contributing in some way to the lineage of the historical lineage of painting uh, on the planet Earth. And I wonder to myself, listening to you, are you thinking about what your contribution is to the to to the history of painting? Is that I'm struggling. I don't know if this sounds like a weird question. Something I
no,
think about, but
I do believe, like, I feel like it dawned on me a few years ago, like, oh my goodness, 100 years from now, they are going to be talking about how live
yeah,
painting and wedding
yeah,
painting became a thing at, in, the 2020s.
right,
Like, because I do think it's a genre that, like, because I see the way, there's other people doing it, and I see the way we play off of each other in our work.
uh-huh,
The way we're like, oh, look at the way she does architecture. Oh, look at the way he did those figures there.
nice,
Look at the way, it's just, oh, how did they handle those sparklers that go off in the background? Like we inspire each other, definitely. And like, it's a kind of a community online. And I'm like, oh, this is a thing. And because I think back to the way, the painters in Paris, the way they met at the salon and were inspired by each other. And just recently, when I saw the Van Gogh at the D'Orsay, and I saw how he took the
Japanese, Japanese paintings.
really no, it was a Dutch painters.
Oh,
He did the two, because I'm thinking about Rubens. I don't
uh-huh,
know if it was Rubens, but it was like the couple in the field in the
yeah,
haystack. It was Van Gogh's version of
right.
it. And I see even like I forget the name of the artist who's at the was it Cecily Brown who's at the Met, and like she's really like playing off of what over older, what the masters work in this luscious painterly way.
So you are,
We can't remove ourselves from the history and the culture. Like I feel like we're a part of it. This is evolving.
I until he presented that question to me, I never actually considered it. I never thought, and I think this may be an esteem issue. Like I think it's in part why I kind of I couldn't focus at art and design because I didn't believe in myself enough
Mm,
and I didn't have the tools or maybe the community around me. I should have with because I was in art and design, but like I never really considered myself part of the conversation until he brought it to me and I was like, "Fuck yeah, man, I want to be a part of this conversation." Yeah, like I'm down, you know?
mhm.
And and so then it presented such an interesting question to me like, well, what am I going to say and how am I going to say it? And what's what's important to me, you know? Um, go ahead.
They're good questions.
Mm, thank you. Thank you. So I don't know if I don't know if this is a fair question to ask. Well, I'm going to try. What do you envision the future of Janet Howard painting to be?
Mm.
What would you like it to be?
Um, I guess I like paintings about life, and I guess I'm always questioning what beauty is, and because I feel like like I guess I kind of look for that in part of my work. It feels like I don't know. I guess I kind of like what is beautiful, and like, and it's not always like what's beautiful is not always. Sometimes what's beautiful is sorrowful. Um, and I guess I think about I was inspired to paint some larger works in Paris. So I'd like to do some large scale things. I'd like to do some dynamic compositions. Um, I mean, I've always played between figurative, still life, and landscape, and I like that about wedding painting. It brings all those three together, and I don't spend a long time on paintings because I get a little impatient and a little bored. I always say, oh, your strengths and your weaknesses are hand in hand, and I feel like I'm impatient. It makes me paint faster. But my impatience, I'd like to be a little bit more patient to, spend longer time, maybe developing composition or uh, so, that challenge myself to, maybe explore, compositionally, um, the dynamics within the two-dimensional support.
Fascinating. Fascinating. I'm sitting here thinking about Zoe Frank. Do you know who Zoe Frank is?
Oh, I love Zoe
Oh
Frank's
my
work.
gosh.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
it's
Oh, yeah.
kind of like an amalgamation. That's like kind of I don't I mean this to support that vision, not to take away from it. And I think she does a really lovely job of what you just said. Um, and I, for one, am looking forward to seeing that from you. I hope that you. Oh, never mind. I hope. I know that you will fulfill on it. um,
Yeah.
and the other thing I was thinking about when you were saying like, what is beauty? And I've been thinking a lot of recently about how these Instagram models are kind of influencing the this is my opinion. This is my thought, right? I don't whether it's real or not, but I think that they're influencing the culture in such a way that is unrealistic
Mm.
and therefore changing the perception of what actual beauty is.
Yeah, you're the second person who said that this week to me. That the idea of what beauty is changing.
Well, with one caveat
Mhm.
that I am holding firm to beauty being imperfection.
Mm.
I now at this age and stage of my experience really appreciate um the beauty and imperfection. And I have a friend uh who moved to France uh in her 20s and 30s, and she came back to New York, and she has been struggling to find a partner. And when I ask her, like, why, and she goes, like, and this is her words, American men suck. And I go, well, like, what are French men like, because I'm an American male. I want to know
Why you
yeah,
suck?
why do I suck? Not, you know, in her realm, not that we were dating or anything like that. But so she had said that French men embrace a person's imperfections. And that stuck with me. Like, whether it was true or not, I don't know. I'm not queer, so I don't date French men. So I can't tell you. Though I believe her when she said it. And it had this impact on me. And I think about that as it relates to my perception of beauty nowadays. Like, and I know that the Japanese, they're, in Japanese pottery, they infuse gold into the cracks or a broken piece of pottery to accentuate its flaw, and that
Mm.
it in and of its flawed self is its magnificence, is its
Mm.
humanity, is its beauty. And so when you were saying, like, I always question what beauty is, and then you went, sorrow is beautiful too. It made me really think about that. Made me really think about how maybe what I'm trying to say is, uh, how important the artist's view of beauty is to challenge the social normatives. I don't know. I said a mouthful right there, but someone
Just
come and hit me over the head with something, please, Josh. But yeah,
yeah,
like,
because you lead. I mean, like you lead a viewer. So you're gonna, and and you accept. You lead the viewer into accepting those flaws, in what you're showing them.
huh,
And so, I mean, there's so many decisions, to be made while you're painting. You know, because I think that, I mean, like, 'cause, so I mean, my mother always says, "Never point out your flaws." She always says that. Never tell a man your flaws.
uh-huh.
But I mean, but I feel like, I mean, often when I look at my work, I see like, is that right or is that wrong? Or is it, and I have to accept a lot of parts of my paintings just the way they are, just because I'm leading. I guess, yeah, I don't know if I've ever said that before,
Uh-huh.
but just like you're trying to lead where I want, the emotion, the feeling, or the viewer, or the story I'm trying to weave in a painting.
I'm hanging on to every word.
Hmm.
I'm, I haven't. I'm sitting here thinking about like, oh, I wonder if Janet, in some way, feels that she's like a movie director, and like you're directing this kind of storyline. I haven't actually thought of it like that. I mean,
Hmm.
I intuit it to some degree, but I don't. I haven't really kind of had a discussion about it.
I think being a movie director is like, I get blown away by
Yeah, me
that.
too.
I'm very impressed. Like, when once I started doing reels, I was like, oh my gosh, like so much too when you bring, sound or lighting,
Right.
and how you weave a story. Like and and I think to myself, what are the limitations within the two-dimensional support, and like how we can, what do we want to show?
So let's try to cap it up. Can you maybe is the core of what you're trying to show beauty?
I'm gonna say, I know it's part of it.
Beauty is part of life?
I think it's part. I do like. I think it's like, the viewer sees that.
Oh,
The viewer
uh-huh.
may
Uh-huh.
like, it's up to me.
Uh-huh.
It's like I see it, and I don't know what other people
Uh-huh.
see, but I don't know. I think beauty can be a gift. Like it's a gift, kind of like to experience that or to feel that. But I don't have those answers, and it's something I've been thinking about. That's probably why I brought it up, because yeah.
Uh, well, today I reposted this clip of Bowie talking about how he feels as though, or he felt as though an artist is much more comfortable about talking about their process rather than the meaning of their paintings or the meaning
Mm.
of their art. And I really want to say thank you. Uh, I think I think you did both, and I think that for at least from Bowie's perspective, it's a difficult matter. It's a
Well, thank you
challenging
for saying
matter.
that, because that's comfort there. Because I often get like, I don't know, I just do them.
Yeah.
I feel compelled sometimes, to just keep doing. I mean, there was a study, of like, you do 100 paintings, and you if you're looking for perfection, you do 100 painting, you'd get it in a fewer. You're more likely to get a perfect painting by doing 100 of them than just doing 10 perfect
Uh-huh.
ones. Like, I said the study wrong, but like they said to a group of people, you do 10 paintings, and do 10 paintings that like make them perfect, And the people who did 100 paintings were able to find 10 paintings within their 100 that they were more satisfied
Right.
with, felt that they were happier with. So like I often do a lot more, and then I can find what I like within that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. But yes, I do like to talk about process more
Uh-huh.
than the meaning.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Certainly, I just realized like we don't want to rob the viewer of their experience, and I'll
Mm.
leave you with this. Like sometimes I only know what the painting's about after it's done. After it's done, and I'm sitting there with it for a year on my wall and going, "Oh, that's what this thing was all about."
Yes.
And
Yes, that helps me all the time.
and
Particularly like when I do still life, I don't think about like what it is. And then afterwards I like analyze my still life paintings. I'm like,
oh,
oh
right, right, right.
wow. Mhm.
Well, it's been really lovely, and
Thank
thank you
you.
so much. And um, I'm just in awe. Like I can't believe that it's been I, 40, almost 40 years since we've talked, and it
Yeah.
feels like it's been a day. And
Yeah. Voice
I
like
adore you, and thank you for
mhm.
being a wonderful person in my life when I was 15, 16 years old. You
You're
you
awesome.
mean a lot to me. Thank you for being an inspiration to me in my art, and thank you just for being so loving. I very much appreciate you. And
Yep. Thank you. Thank you for having me. And I'm totally impressed with your whole, you know,
my whole
you're
deal.
you're like you're doing your thing. You're doing art and you're, teaching people, helping people, and found your passion. So I'm really happy for
Thank
you.
you. Love you, Janet.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Thank you for this
Yep.
opportunity. Bye bye.
Thank you for listening to the Gentle Art Podcast. Please share, rate, and review. And if you have any questions or you'd like to reach out, please contact us at the GentleArtPodcast@gmail.com or contact us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter or thegentleartpodcast.com.